Welcome back to Inside Access Control and Inside Visitor Management. Excited today to have Larry join us from Envoy. Larry, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Lee?
Oh, great. Glad to hear you're safe and sound. It's a little crazy, especially I know you're in the Bay Area, so
COVID
always great to
times.
hear and catch up with you. So thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
So, I've got some exciting news. I understand the Envoy Protect is moving, if you would, to the next phase. So, can you give us a little bit of an update? What's happening with Envoy Protect?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited to announce this general availability of Protect. It's been in beta for about 3 to 4 months. Demand has just been incredible. And just every single day is a record in terms of people returning back to their workplaces. As you know, Envoy Protect is a suite of functionality for returning back to the workplace and doing it safely with data. It allows for things like surveying employees on a daily basis for if they have symptoms of COVID. You can customize this. There's capacity management and ensuring that there isn't an unsafe amount of people in the workplace. There's some contact tracing functionality to that too. And we also have the ability to kind of unlock doors only for employees that have registered that day. So we integrate with, I think it's like 8 or 9 different systems for door access. And we do try to do all of this in like a privacy conscious way that your workforce will actually buy into. And for your visitors actually too, they now can sign in fully from their mobile phone. You don't need to use the iPad up front, although it's completely optional if they don't have a phone or don't want to use it, for example. And people can do this all globally with a full kind of audit log, analytics, and all throughout the buildings of the company. This isn't just for one place. You can see everything globally, which is really nice. This was just weeks into COVID. A quick pivot happened because of this workplace platform. We were able to do it because we had this workplace platform together. And we work closely with hundreds of customers, every permutation imaginable of like different circumstances, people entering, leaving, different types of people, what works, what doesn't. So we're starting to feel really, really confident in the product now. And this GA is more kind of an acknowledgement of our confidence in us finding a pattern that has worked really, really well with so many companies. And go ahead.
I was say absolutely, because I know that you take a nice measured approach to when you bring the product out. So I know, and again, knowing the team's been working really hard on this, the confidence that you have to actually go just general public and bring it out tells you a lot that it's ready to go.
Yeah, it's really importantly, like people just do not use data in their workplace or they want to, but they don't have easy access to it. And especially on a global basis where you can kind of make a decision that can span all of your workplaces and not just the one that you're in or the 2 that you kind of frequent. So this is kind of what we've been trying to do. It's about kind of getting all the data together so any kind of industry could use it too. Stuff like we've seen success now in media production studios, in stadiums, food processing, factories, manufacturing, warehouses. People are picking up these, there's still physical places that need to know, hey, are people there and how many people are there? Are they too close together? And these companies all just need this kind of thing. It just serves a big need. It's people returning back to this workplace and doing it actually safely.
Yeah, I guess speak to me about a little bit of that if you don't mind. So when I hear you talk about it, there's 2 things that stand out. Number one, it's sort of this trust side, and you're utilizing data to, I think, tell a story or at least express information to make people feel better based off the data, so that they can make an assessment and say, yeah, I feel comfortable doing this, and it's not just a feeling I have. Here's actual data that shows me that the feeling I'm having is real. So speak to me a little bit about 2 things. Number one, the importance of trust in a healthy, because I know you're heavy on the sort of healthy office, not just on sort of like the air is healthy, but also the way people feel. You and I we've talked about this before, so it's sort of a core tenet. It's actually one of the things that I appreciate a lot about you is that you not only say that from a business point of view, but I know you mean it. And then number 2, why is it taken a pandemic to happen for the realization of data utilization to have to happen? Like, what was happening before that now causes this sort of, call it the perfect storm, if you would, to where people are actually starting to use data?
Yeah, those are both great questions. I think the knowing that you have a safe environment is is much more important now for all sorts of reasons. There's of course the business reasons of like security and compliance and making sure that like your business is going to continue and making sure that that kind of thoughtfulness is there. There's just normal importances in your business and knowing these things. But a thing that's not talked about a lot is also a lot of businesses are getting pulled into doing this by their employees. It's not just the businesses saying, hey, I just want to have this because we need legal to be okay with everyone coming in, or we need more compliances or that kind of thing. It's because the employees are saying, hey, I can't be at home right now. It's really weird for me to work in the same room as my roommate. And because of that, I need to go into the office to actually do work. And if I'm going to be in the office, can you somehow make it clear to me that you've done your absolute best in allowing me to not get sick and not increase the risks of any kind of spread? So that's kind of what these companies are doing right now. They're not really opening up for 100% of their people. I think a reopening is kind of this interesting concept where it's like, right now we're not serving companies that are returning back 100%. In fact, we've seen very, very, very few companies that are actually doing that. We have seen companies, though, that are getting in 10%, 20%, and they want to make sure that of that 10, 20%, they are adequately spaced from each other. They're not having to, like, there's no bottlenecks around the office. They just basically are doing their best in making sure that people will be safe the entire time while they're there. And,
yeah. Go ahead.
I guess to address your second question, it's actually really interesting that companies kind of, they've always kind of wanted the data, but it's just been so kind of, the products haven't existed, or if they have, they haven't been kind of unified together. The data hasn't come together. So you could have had a product that measures how many people enter and exit a building, but you don't know who it is. So then you can't, for example, do more accurate contact tracing. Or you can have a product that helps with your visitor management, but then how does that product interact with the meeting rooms? Or how does that product interact with the desks and this more holistic, bigger system? So kind of why now people are recognizing it is because safety is incredibly important, but they're also noticing that there's these companies like ours that are now building a lot of these core products and kind of providing one dashboard in one place to kind of see all the data from all of them. And now you kind of get these synergies where the data you're getting is so much more insightful. You can make predictions around, hey, do I need to get more food? Do I need to clean this area of the office and do these desks or this workspace? So it's definitely an industry that's now starting to produce some really, really good actionable information, and especially in a time when safety is so key. Now that's really been the forcing function to get everybody moving on this.
Yeah, definitely creating more value beyond just sort of the safety side, if you would, of keeping bad people out that have a gun, to actually now this sense that safety has expanded beyond that. Yes. And I also think people aren't playing around with it anymore. It's sort of this of, the business continuity side and just the human factor side, which I actually think there's aspects of this that are wonderful, if you would. So a massively bad thing, but sort of out of it will come these sort of different relationships that we have with places, and the realization that, they're more impactful than just the place I go to do my work and I go home. So I find that encouraging. And I think the demand from the consumers and the end users of actually creating valuable information that comes out of just the one practical thing that it used to do, like locking and unlocking a door or signing in and signing out, whatever it might have been, is now far more involved, and the expectations are far greater. That it's great for companies like yourself that can execute on those things. So
it's incredible actually to just be able to hook these systems up together. Like, for example, with Protect, when somebody fills out the survey in the morning and then they're approved, only after they're approved is their badge actually unlocked. So at the beginning of the day, everybody's badge is disabled. And then once Protect verifies you, then your badge is unlocked. So now the building facilities management or security, they now know, hey, everybody in this office has basically certifiably been screened and been kind of cleared to be there. So there's kind of like no concern about the one-offs and that kind of thing. So This is kind of, it's these integrations that really allow this data now to actually be really useful, and the systems to work with each other, and the workflows that are going to be possible, that are possible now and going to be possible in the future, are just incredible.
Yeah, I agree. So you mentioned a term earlier. You said desks. So I understand there's also some news around desks. So
That's right,
you
yeah.
give us a little bit of insight on what you got going on there.
Yeah, so as part of this kind of GA of our Protect suite, we're also announcing the beginnings of our private beta of desks. So this is yet another key part of all of COVID and all of kind of just thinking about your workplace and thinking about it analytically. There's this social distancing that's now required, and when desks are right beside each other, especially in companies or that kind of thing, when they try to cram so many people close to each other, though that's great in the past, these days it's just too risky. So what we're doing is we're building Envoy desks, which is basically a key part to allow more social distancing within a workplace, and allow kind of Envoy Protect to assign you a desk. And it could, and we integrate with a variety of different systems, and we're building out more and more as we go. And then, and then you can also pick a desk on your own too. So we're kind of allowing that flexibility with Envoy Protect to kind of signal out to whichever desk you would want to go to. And as part of this, we're also going to be having some mapping functionality, and we're going to be increasing kind of the concept of, hey, there's this one workplace and the platform is there to basically interconnect all these different pieces. So this will start now. You can sign up for it on envoy.com/protect, as you can for Protect itself. And over the coming weeks and months, we'll be rolling it out to more and more people.
Yeah, I love this idea. It's another example of the workplace becoming more dynamic and managing, where before people maybe had dedicated desks and they just went in and out. Now with this sort of flow and phasing and the complexity of understanding how to manage the space is becoming even harder. So it's almost like the concept of hot desking, if you would, for everybody at that point, and then you get to select. It reminds me also of like when you check in at some hotels, you have the ability to select what floor and what room that you want based off of whatever it might be. So there is also this sense of maybe maybe it is purposeful, you tell me, but sort of the control side of like you're selecting that, again, that trust relationship is there, that the organization is showing me data that makes me feel comfortable, and then I get to pick where I want to be. So there's empowerment as well that's there. That is, another byproduct again of this is the sort of empowered worker that feels like they're in control of their own destiny.
Yeah, transparency is super, super key in the workplace when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like the more kind of the employees can feel part of the solution as opposed to kind of a subject in it, the better it is for them. And in order for you as a facilities manager, security director, or whatever it is, to get the compliance from the people, you need software that's thoughtful of their experience. If you just have something that's there for security purposes or legal purposes, and they have to do it as part of a thing, you're not going to get their buy-in. And there's going to be people that try to get around it. They're going to try to not do the thing. They're going to just like not come in. And the business is just going to recognize a lot of inefficiencies because you're just not allowing people that kind of ability to be part of it. And I think that now more than ever, like this is the direction the industry is going, more transparency around it, more information about the workplace. That also means more conveniences too. Like this desk booking piece is great for now for safety, but in the future, it'll be even more helpful because now, let's say that 100% of the company is back. Maybe they're only back for 1 day a week or 5 days or 4 days. It doesn't matter how many days a week you're back for. They don't have to have desks that are permanently allocated to everybody. It's almost like the sharing economy never came to the workplace. And there's all these resources that could be shared and could be much better utilized. And our vision is to allow this, in not just one company, to allow kind of the optimal allocation of desks and rooms and the cleaning associated and just like the dynamicness of it all, but to allow it in one company, but ideally we'll allow it cross-company in the future too. And that's where the vision's going. It's only going to happen through a lot of kind of development, through a lot of feedback from customers. There's a lot of like pieces that we got to figure out around security and all sorts of pieces, but the future is definitely a lot more expansive and powerful and empowering for the people.
Yeah, you can definitely tell once you get to the granularity of the data of understanding the things that are there. You can see, that this could be used to book the bike in the space and to, any of the tools that might be, like you said, like maybe there's some shared resources that I don't know, like this mic, like you don't need to have 17 of them. You can have them a couple in the office and people can share them and use them. So it reminds me of RTLS systems in some cases on some areas as well. And it's exciting though, because I think these are the examples I think of, again, through crisis, you have innovation happen. And it's amazing how when you apply them, and then once you have those sort of systems stubbed out, then the imagination could start going. I guess the only thing is, how do you prioritize and where's the biggest return on investment?
You keep hiring more engineers so you can build more things. That's basically how that goes. That's how we've been working pretty well, though. Lots of things are going on. Lots of iteration necessary, though. That's for sure.
Absolutely. All right, well, Larry, I think that's a good point for us to end on. So thank you again for taking the time to do this. It's always great to catch up. I appreciate you and the team of how you approach this, and it's been wonderful to watch the success that you're having. So thank you for taking the time to share this with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lee. And if anyone's interested in the product, envoy.com/protect, sign up over there and give it a shot.
Perfect. We'll make sure we add that to the beginning and the end too. So thank you, Larry. Stay safe.
Thanks.